And we're live. Hey, William, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. We had a lot of rainstorms last night and dog dogs barking.
We're looking at storms tomorrow, maybe, but we're in the middle of a heat wave right now. It's super hot outside.
Yeah. So in Scotland, what's super hot?
Well, it's 25 Celsius at my desk, and I've got the AC on. It's probably like 28, 29 out there,
Okay.
which in Fahrenheit is
He's got to switch the whole thing over.
75 at my desk right now. So I guess like 85,
Oh.
90 outside.
So 75 inside's pretty hot. Crank up
Yeah,
that
it's
AC, right?
comfortable.
Yeah. So we're trying to stream to LinkedIn for the first time, and I'm refreshing the page to see if we are. And it looks like we are, maybe. Well, we'll have somebody on our team trying to confirm this as well. But it looks like everything's live. We'll just give it a few minutes for anybody that wants to join, for everything to go out. Um, I'm not sure about LinkedIn. It doesn't look like we're live. So maybe we won't be on LinkedIn today, and all those business professionals will miss out on our live stream.
Oh no, I literally just heard you say that on LinkedIn.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So it is live.
Okay. Very cool.
Looks like it's like 20, 30 seconds lag just.
Yeah. We have a delay. Oh, it is live. There you go. All right. Um, yeah. So there's a little bit of a delay, which is good, right? Maybe we can do the live censoring if.
Yeah, if someone makes a mistake that they don't want to see, we can just cancel it.
Yeah. Or we use some naughty words on the live stream, but
That doesn't
well,
happen.
yeah. Now we got confirmation from Paula that that it's working. So, well, she says just checked and it doesn't look to be live, but I just checked and it does look to be live on LinkedIn. So interesting. I think it is delayed. Um,
Yeah.
so all good. So yeah, so let's jump into it. So today we're kind of we're doing accessibility checker change log episode 3. We've made it 3 episodes, William, and that means we're in it for the long haul now.
Yeah. It's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yep. So this episode we're calling Bye Bye Clutter and Hello Smart Checks. So what we do in this live stream is we talk about the Equalized Digital Accessibility Checker, which is a WordPress plugin that is used to scan your websites for accessibility and to help your websites become more accessible and to stay accessible. We have a suite of plugins at this point. We have a free plugin, which is very full featured. None of our rules are gated. And you can download that today and get a lot of value out of it. We have a pro plugin with advanced features such as full site scanning and being able to manage issues at a global level. And we have a few add-ons. We have audit history to track your accessibility issues over time. And we have a multi-site add-on to be able to manage the installation, the activation, and the license keys from the multi-site network level. And finally, we have an export add-on that allows you to export your issue data and your site scan data to CSV files. So let's jump into it. Uh, Today, we're calling it Bye Bye Clutter, Hello Smart Checks, and that's because we've implemented some changes. We'll be exclusively talking about the free plugin today because those are the changes that went out last week, and we made changes to how our issues show on the front end, especially in the case where multiple issues show up, and so that they don't overlap with each other. And we've made some improvements to accessibility rules and to adding more site health notifications inside the WordPress admin to help you be sure that the accessibility checker is working correctly. So first off, let's jump into we added more accessibility checker details in the site health check. So if you don't know, inside the WordPress admin, they have this feature nowadays called the site health. And basically what it does is it can scan your website for any number of issues, right? If it can't access the REST API, maybe it'll give you a notification that, hey, your website's blocking the REST API and things like that. And it gives us the ability to hook in and add our own things. So let me pull up my screen, and then I will show you the site health. We do have confirmation from Paulo that it's working fine. So great. We are going out on LinkedIn and X and YouTube. Cool. So when you log into your website, you're presented in the opening dashboard page, and you can move these widgets around, but it seems to always be in the top left for me. There's a site health widget, and you can see take a look at 6 items on the site health screen. So it's showing me that I have some things that should be improved, some things I should look at, right? So I can click this site health link, which will jump me over to the site health page. You can also get to it from the menu in the left hand of the admin page by going to tools and then to site health. So we've added 3 site health checks, and one I have listed here as critical. So now you're and we're tagging these with accessibility to help you identify them and to not add any confusion to other people that may be tagging accessibility things. So you can kind of group those together. But you can see I have a critical issue, and it says no post types selected for accessibility checking. So if I toggle this open, it says accessibility checker cannot scan any content because no post types have been selected. Without configured post types, no accessibility issues will be detected. So, of course, in your accessibility checker settings, if you haven't selected any custom post type, or if you've deselected all your custom post types, then the accessibility checker is not going to be able to do its job. So we provide a button here to jump over and enable those. But before I do that, let's see what else we have under accessibility. And so on the site health check page, I have 4 recommended improvements. And in there, our accessibility one is content has not been checked. So if I toggle this one open, it says no post have been scanned, run a full site scan to begin checking your content for accessibility issues. So we don't have this listed as a critical issue because it's we don't think it's critical. And really at this point, if I go to do a full site scan and I haven't addressed the critical issue, the full site scan is actually going to tell me to do the same thing, enable a custom post type so that we can scan. So we can also look at the past test. And if I go down, we have one here in the past test currently. It's no accessibility issues detected. And accessibility, if I toggle that open, it says accessibility checker has not found any issues in the scanned content. So, on the surface, the way things are set up now, oh, great, I don't have any accessibility issues. But this is only because we haven't scanned anything. So let's go back and let's address these issues and see how the site health changes based on our reconfiguration. So if I scroll back up to the critical issues here, and I click on configure post types, it'll jump me over to the settings page, and I can see, of course, I don't have any custom post types checked. So I'll check page. I want to scan pages, and then I'll hit save changes. Okay. So now if I go back to tools and then I go to site health, now that site health critical issue is gone, and it's no longer showing. You can, if I toggle open past tests, um, you can see now that post types are configured for accessibility checking, that it is now passing. But we still need to run a full site scan. If I go to the recommended improvements, under accessibility, content has not been checked. So now if I toggle that open and I go to start a full site scan, okay, run accessibility check there. So I'm going to run a scan. I chose pages on purpose because I know there's not that many, and our full site scan won't take that long to complete. So let's let that run and see how that changes our site health. All right. And our full site scan is completed. So if I jump back over to site health, so now under recommended improvements, I can see accessibility issues detected. This was showing as passed because we haven't scanned anything. The plugin that has no knowledge of accessibility issues. So if I toggle that open, I can see that accessibility checker has detected 18 errors and 20 warnings. Since I have the Pro plugin installed, I can actually click a button to go view those issues. Jumps me over to the open issues, and then I can start addressing those here. So that's kind of a quick rundown, a simple rundown of the site health, just trying to expose uh, throughout the WordPress admin uh, when accessibility issues are there, and trying to help you take action on those and trying to give you more context to what the plugin's doing and what state it's in. So those are our site health updates. Got any thoughts or wisdom on to add to that, William? No.
No, no, I was I was a bit distracted trying to figure out what I'm demoing next. That isn't
That's
working.
right.
So,
You got to always, you got to keep up on the show notes and get ready
mhm.
for your turn. So the next feature that we've added is we've added the ability to clear issues on a post the ability to clear issues on a post or page from the front end highlighter. So if you've used the plugin before, I mean, it's probably been a year or so ago, we did add a feature into the admin, that post edit page, to be able to clear issues. And William, can you speak to a little bit why we initially added that in the admin? And because on its face, it seems like not a great idea to add a clear issues button, but can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So we initially added this button because some users had ended up getting some stuck issues in the reports on the individual page by changing their post type of the individual post that was being viewed. So at the time, our plugin didn't differentiate or didn't filter out based on the actual post type. So if someone changed their post type, they would have all issues displayed on the single page. But when they updated, they wouldn't actually be cleared out as no longer existing because the post type mismatch. So that was the original intention of the clear issues button. It also is a very useful debugging tool to make sure that when an issue is cleared or discovered, that it doesn't either reoccur or, you know, accidentally get missed on a rescan.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's a nice debugging tool, but it did solve a bug that no longer is an issue, but was for a while.
Right. So we, in episode 2 of accessibility checker changelog, we released a feature, and we talked about a feature, and it was called a cleanup process. So we now have a cleanup process inside the plugin that runs through and will automatically check for issues that are no longer connected to a post type, that have become orphaned in some way. And the clear button before, if your issues had become orphaned, you could actually hit that clear button and it would unorphan those issues and allow you to rescan the post. So that feature, the automatic cleanup, does address that and help fix that issue. But like William said, the clear issues button, I think internally we use it a lot for debug, and we find it a valuable tool. Now, there is the potential for abuse, right? Like you could clear your issues. So if you ran a post and you got all these issues, you could just hit clear and then leave the page, and then the issues are gone. The next time somebody opens that page to edit it, the checker will automatically scan and find those issues again. But there is a small potential for abuse, and I think that that you just have to be mindful of that. If you clear those issues, be sure to either refresh the edit page or to hit the save button so it rescans. So I'll pull that up and show you. So this was the admin button. So if I click this, it'll pop up an alert and ask me, do I really want to clear these issues? And I hit OK, and then you can see all the stats kind of go green because there are no issues. Issues still exist. So let's go ahead and resave the page. And this just gives us some assurance that what we currently have is 100% correct. Now, of course, saving the page actually does the same exact thing. It actually clears the issues and rescans. But let's jump over to the front end and take a look at how this looks like in the front end highlighter. So if I open the details tab and then I toggle open an issue and I hit view on page, you can see the front end highlighter pops up, and now at the bottom you can see as of the previous release, we added a rescan button, and we thought since we've added a rescan button here, we should add a clear issues button so you can do both right from the front end. So I have a clear issues button. If I go ahead and click the clear issues button, I get the same alert that pops up and asks me if I really want to do this in case somebody accidentally hits this button. They have a way out. So now the issues have been cleared. It gives me feedback. And so now I can hit the rescan this page button and it'll say scanning. And then I can see my issues again. So I think I showed in the last episode too, what a way that I've kind of used this a little bit is I actually will inspect an element in the inspector and actually modify the element on the page to test if a change will actually work before actually implementing it on the code side. And these rescan buttons and these clear issue buttons help me to actually rescan that modified element on the page that actually really isn't modified, but it's just kind of a debugging thing for me, for a developer to be able to do. So
yeah, so something I have tried is on front end page builders as well. It's super useful that you edit the content in line. Like let's say Beaver Builder, for example, which is an entirely front end builder, or can be. If you actually edit your content, rather than saving the content, you can click that rescan button right there and then. Whereas previously with a builder like Beaver Builder, you would need to save the content and then visit the editor page in the back end to get an updated list of issues. That no longer will be the case. This rescan, this page button, rescans the currently rendered version, so prior to saving. And currently it does also save those issues when you click that button, which is something that I have an issue in back of my mind of making it an optional save, whether you want to rescan and save or whether you just want to rescan the current content, which I think will be useful for other page builders that as you're building your page, you might want to check it and not actually save those issues. You just want to see them. So
Right. Yeah, we've had some talk about that in regards to the front end highlighter and in regards to full site scanner. We're looking at adding features into the full site scanner that actually allows you to to pass arguments through. And when I say arguments, I mean like you can choose which custom post types, which post status, maybe a date range, get scanned from the full site scanner. And the reason why we haven't implemented that yet is because we need to be mindful about how we do that, because our plugin is trying to get a holistic view of the accessibility throughout the website. And if you run a full site scan and you modify the query and the arguments that get passed into what posts and pages get scanned, it could skew the overall accessibility reports of the page. So we've had some talk maybe in regards to that, and in regards to the full site scan, of some sort of snapshot. And it's not a hard issue, but it's a snapshot issue that you've taken to be able to do some kind of debugging or some edge case out there. So that is the clear.
actually, before we move on, there
Yeah.
is another feature that exists or doesn't exist because of clear issues one, but can be demoed if you want to pull that back up again and just clear the issues from the page. Yeah.
Okay.
So this page now effectively has no issues. If you reload it, you see how the scanner has automatically opened, and then there we go. It just rescanned right away. So if you clear the issues, next time someone opens that panel on a page, it will automatically rescan, which means that people who use exclusively front end page builders will be able to get their results. Maybe not instantly, but they will be able to get them for every single page, regardless of whether they visit the editor in the back end or not, which is becoming more and more common. People never visit the admin for their page edits.
Yeah. And that pattern or that process that William just described is actually mirrors how the backend works, right? You can clear the issues, but if you refresh the page, it will rescan. And so it works the same in the backend. And yeah, if you are using a page builder that's kind of, dynamically updating things in real time, you can hit the rescan at any time to see your current results and get feedback real quick. So that is the rescan button. William, the next one I wanted you to demo. I have it up on my screen right now, which I just noticed. Do you want
Yeah,
me?
you could have demoed that. I did actually. That's what I was faffing around with. I had to find a post that exhibited this, but I do have it up.
Okay.
If
Let
you want
me.
to.
So the next feature that we released is what we're kind of talking about with this episode about clutter. We're trying to um, simplify the layout of things on the front end and actually make it easier for you to identify issues. So we fix the icon stacking in the front end highlighter when there are multiple issues on the same element. So you want to describe how that previously worked?
So in the past, so yeah, let me open this here. So in the past, if this had two distinct issues, I would click this link, but I wouldn't be able to click on the second one. The second one would be behind it, and I would have to use the previous and next buttons to get to it. They would be stacked on top of each other if this same element had multiple issues. Whereas if we look at the item below, so the first one, ambiguous anchor text, it's just called link. That is, correct. And it's an improper use of link. So if we inspect this, we will see, it fails because it has that as the anchor and no wrong. So this link here has two individual issues, and now they're nicely stacked side by side. So you can individually click on those issues, whereas previously they would be on top of each other. You wouldn't be able to get to them. You would need to click the next button. And it just so happens, because I've cleared the issues, they've been discovered back to back, but sometimes that isn't the case. Sometimes issues are discovered out of order. So, number 8 and number 7 are right next to each other, but in some pages, number 7 and number 16 might be these issues. So as you click through them, it would be jarring, pulling you up and down and back and forth. So now you can just see them side by side, no longer stacked.
Right. And the reason why Williams are on the left side of the page is probably because those are probably HTML blocks, aren't they?
They are HTML blocks, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can see it here as well. So text is too small and it's underlined text.
Yeah. So a pretty simple feature, but actually it goes a long way to kind of organize the front end highlighter icons and, not make it so cluttered or confusion. I mean, I even know that like sometimes I would look at those and I'd be like, oh, there's only one issue here. And then I'd start tabbing through and like, wait, there's 2 or 3 issues on, and they're just overlaid on top of each other. And whoever, from a Z indexing, whoever gets there first gets the, whoever gets there last actually is the one on top. So, you trying to pull up another one?
Yeah, so this one here specifically, but it isn't this one. But there is sometimes you have an issue or a set of issues that are, yeah, this one doesn't have to. But sometimes you might have a list of items, and you might have, these are test posts, so these are supposed to pass and supposed to fail. That's not correct here because it is in my local. But sometimes, why these 2 are failing? Why is this one here not failing? And previously that could be a stacking issue because the wrapper. But
yeah,
I guess I'm not explaining that very well, but it's very useful that it is side by side now.
Well, a common issue is when you have multiple issues regarding one HTML element, but like a lot of times where we'd see this, and that, like right there, that's a perfect example. So this is like an icon. It's like this is in the page pagination. It's like a previous icon, and there's 2 issues, and the icon is really small. So, and this actually moves them, separates them a little bit so that you can actually initiate both of them. Social icons is normally where you see this a lot, where you have like 5 social icons that are just, real close together. And then it's just, it looks kind of like a mess, and the icons are all kind of overlapping each other. So you trying a third one here? Yeah. See, that's an interesting one too, because there's.
So here is the exact problem that I was just describing, whereby this is an outer element, and it actually does technically overlay this inner element's first issue.
Mm-hmm. And are those in order?
I mean, they are in order because I've just rescanned this page to show it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They would have been discovered out of order because the theme has changed.
Right.
Yeah, so this is actually the outer element that wraps all of these, all of the pagination. And this one. So this is what it was previously like every time.
Mm-hmm.
But now, they are stacked side by side. I know I'm not showing a very good use case of this because it is still sort of broken in some situations, but I have an idea how to fix that as well.
Yeah, because it's evaluating the position based on the element itself and not on its children or its parent issue. Yeah. I mean,
But yeah, previously I wouldn't be able to access this. This is the second issue for these 2 warnings. So I can access this separately now because this one sticks out. But previously they wouldn't.
So. Yeah, and so on the page I had up, you can see it as well. Like these are nicely stacked right next to each other. They're not overlapping, so I can actually see that there are 2 issues here. Where before it would sort of look like there was only one until you started paging through these. And same with this learn more link, and there's another learn more link down here because it's ambiguous and it's an improper use of a link. So that is another small feature that we think goes a long way to helping expose all the issues on the page and to make things more readable and decluttering the front end highlighter. Cool. So the next feature that we have here is we improved the missing transcripts that they can better detect transcripts for videos in the content. So that's kind of a vague change log entry. William, can you?
Yeah, so we had a customer reach out to us where their markup looked correct to me from the front end, or not the markup, but the rendered markup looked correct to me in terms of how the transcript and the video was lined up back to back. However, when the page was being scanned, we weren't detecting the transcript existed. And the reason why is because some systems rely on a lazy load that actually employs two script tags for the video. So what was actually happening is one of them was discovering the transcript, but the second one was not discovering the transcript. So this rule has now been updated so that it can handle when there are two iframes with videos side by side, but only one transcript that's related to both of them. So I actually do have some markup which can show it. Let me load this into a page, or actually I guess I can pull it up here first. So yeah, the issue that we were seeing is, so there's a figure tag which is where the video is contained. Here is the video, and there's a transcript right here. So this should be getting connected. The problem is that that transcript was actually connected to this iframe as opposed to this iframe. So there was still technically one iframe that was missing a transcript. So the rule has been updated to understand that these are technically the same thing. I mean, it isn't the same thing here in this because this is just some random genetic test markup. But yeah, this transcript belongs to whichever of these iframes is displayed. So we can actually, if I edit this page, I can paste that, save it, and these numbers should not significantly change. Like it should not detect. Well, maybe it will, but yeah. So a video is present, but it is not detecting that there is a missing transcript because it has a transcript. Transcript is right here. This H3 is the transcript. But previously, before we made the rule change, it would detect one missing transcript because there was one transcript with two videos. So that's a long-winded way of saying it now better handles lazy load of YouTube videos and other providers. But specifically, This was a YouTube issue it was discovered with.
So this primarily revolves around lazy loading, right?
Yes, lazy loading. However, I'm not talking about just lazy loaded plugins. Sometimes the browser will lazy load these, like by default. So it will employ a very similar pattern, perhaps not this no script duplicated pattern, but like a lot of videos will automatically hide themselves for bandwidth reasons. Right? If you might be on a slow connection and the video might not want to be instantly loaded, or you might be scrolling through like Facebook, and Facebook doesn't want to show you every single video you scroll past until you interact with it. Right? Like these are techniques that are common now, and previously, the rule was not catching this, but it does. It does now. It detects the video because there is video, but it knows the transcript is attached to both of them, as opposed to one.
So was this issue brought up internally or by a customer?
So a customer brought this issue up. We had spoken to this customer and they explained how they were adding their transcripts. It seemed correct to me. The mark, as I said, visually on the page, it looks correct, but the scanner saw things slightly differently because the scanner looks at just the markup, and it was being thrown off by the fact that there was two video frames, but only one transcript.
Yeah.
And that is, technically an issue. If every video you have should have a transcript, But if the videos are the same, then
Right.
one transcript is acceptable for both.
So yeah, I mean, we're always trying to refine these rules. We're always trying to make them smarter. You know, we can't always come up with every scenario ourselves. Create a unit or a jest test to evaluate. A lot of times, these fixes come from our own internal use on the auditing side of our company. They utilize the plugin in the audit, so we actually walk the walk, and we dog food our own plugin, and that helps it make it a lot better. And our customers, when they reach out, so if you're using the plugin and you're trying to discern, hey, I added a transcript to this video, but the plugin still says it's missing, like what's going on, contact our support, and we're always very quick to fix these issues and to help improve the plugin. And what it does is it not only fixes the problem for you, the all the 7,000 people that have the plugin installed all get a net benefit from you raising that issue to us and us taking action on fixing it. So
Yep. And whenever we have these, we do add these. This is a test suite, and we do add this test. This exact markup here should pass. And now every time we make a change to our rules, this will be validated. Does this pass for the rule, or does it change? And yeah, every time we have an issue to fix the rules, we add a case for it in these tests, so that we can make sure that we don't have any regressions, and we make sure that the things we expect to pass and the things we expect to fail
yeah.
do.
Yeah, so a more simple way of saying what William said was we we add a more layman way to say it is we add these scenarios and we validate the rules against them with every single change of the plugin. So if any code, like if we say somebody says, hey, the transcript's not doing XYZ, right? And we go, okay, well, we can fix XYZ. And we go and change another thing about the missing transcript rule. And if that inadvertently breaks the missing transcript rule that we fixed previously, the one we're talking about here, it'll flag as an error and actually won't even allow our developers to get approved, to get merged.
Yep.
So it's just all in a way to make sure that we're collecting these scenarios over time. They actually get added to our test suite, and they're actually validated with every change to the plugin. Just ensures that our rules continue to improve and they don't degrade with future changes.
Yeah, so, and that is, previously was a problem because we had no automated testing for, all of these rules back in the days when all these rules were powered by PHP. So you could make changes to one of those rules and not understand that it affects a different rule in, sometimes a positive way, sometimes a negative way. But without the automated testing, we didn't know. And I should, at this point, I think we have 95% of all of our rules tested to almost 100% coverage.
Yeah.
And soon it will be all of our rules will have 100% test coverage.
Yep. Cool. It's just the way that we ensure that, we're creating the most, the best quality rules and the most accurate rules we can. So that's kind of our rundown on new features inside the Accessibility Checker free plugin. You can find it at equalizedigital.com, or you can find it on wordpress.org. You can find it in your WordPress dashboard. Search for Accessibility Checker, install it, give these new features a try, and do that all completely free. So upcoming features. So we've been teasing a few things in the last couple episodes, and we've been teasing adding the ability to scan archive pages. And we've been teasing a little bit about an issues API that we've had in the works. And I think since we have a little bit of time here, I think what might be good is to do our first ever Equalized Digital Accessibility Checker sneak peek. Yep. We need an animation screen.
We got some confetti.
Some confetti. There you go. So on the archive page scanning, how's that coming along, William?
Yeah, so it's pretty far along. There's a couple of edge cases, a couple of quirks still to work through, but by and large, it is working. It, can scan all your taxonomies, all of your custom post type archives, and it shows you the results in the various reports. So the summary will reflect how many issues those pages have. You will also be able to use the front end highlighter to preview those issues directly on the page. And you can globally ignore issues, you can individually ignore issues, you can do almost everything you can do with normal page issues with archive issues, with exception of being able to edit the content. You can't edit the contents of an archive page in the same way. So there's some UI adjustments there to be made. If you want to pull up my screen, I can actually quickly demo this. So on this, this is my test site. I have 66 posts on this page, but if you look in the sidebar, there is a whole load of custom taxonomies added. There's also this, it's this one here, this custom post type, which has an archive page. So previously, none of this content would be able to be scanned. But if we now go to the full site scanner, I click this button, so you will see 66 posts and 10 pages. If I click this button, it's actually going to scan 87 items because 10 of those things are post terms from these taxonomies. And while this is doing its scan, I can actually show you a little bit what this looks like, kind of in the back end. So these are the terms. So there's this technology term as a topic, but as part of this taxonomy. So if I click edit on this, it has 8 issues, 6 warnings, and these are the errors that are present on this page. So an empty heading tag. I can click this button here. I can actually view this. There we go. That's the empty heading tag on a taxonomy page. Normally, you would not be able to scan this page. You wouldn't get issues for it, but here are all the issues. This is an actual taxonomy template.
Very cool. So, for those that don't know, I think the accessibility checker is getting ready to turn 5 years old. I think, yeah, right, and
Yes.
which is kind of amazing. And I will say this, that when we released the accessibility checker in 2020, that the archive scanning was probably issue number one. It was probably the first thing that was opened. Was we need to add the ability to scan custom post type and
And it's
archive
actually
page.
quite difficult with the way that the plugin is set up to do its associations, or not just the way the plugin is set up, but the way WordPress is rigged up to where post ID equals the object, and archives are collections of post IDs or lists of post IDs, but they're not pages of themselves. They're not posts in terms of how WordPress considers a chunk of content. It's a dynamic page. It doesn't exist in and of itself in the same way that other pages are posted. So it's actually quite difficult to keep track of it. It proved quite difficult.
Well, let me ask you this: was coming to a solution the difficult part, or the implementation the difficult part?
Coming to the solution was quite difficult. Actually, coming up with the right idea to be able to track these. And I don't know how much we want to talk about the actual solution.
No, we can talk
until
about
we
it.
release it. But the long and short is that a custom post type is created, which currently is called virtual pages.
Yeah.
And we store these items here. And I have this up here, so it's actually using smart sampling. So right now, what it does is it takes the one, finds, looks at all your terms, and it finds in a given taxonomy the one that has the most posts. the one that has the least posts, and it will actually do the least post check twice because it's trying to find one that has 0 and one that has only one single post. So we'll try and find, it will always find at least the minimum and maximum on a page, but it is trying to find 3 terms from every taxonomy so that it covers the most use cases of each of those templates.
Right. But we have the ability to, so we've added a setting where you can toggle
Yes.
on and
toggle this on right here.
Uh,
Every taxonomy term, every post type will be checked.
yeah. So if you want to ensure that you're if you're trying to be 100% compliant, that you're catching all of your term pages, and the reason why we would do sampling in this regards is to not typically your taxonomy template page is going to be the same for every tag, right, or whatever the taxonomy is, right?
And on a lot of sites, you might have more tags or categories than you have actual posts. So you might have 500 categories, but only 150 posts. So we don't want to scan, all of those additional pages when the results are going to be the same.
Yeah. And it'll just it'll fill up the database, and it'll create a lot of noise for you, but we wanted to be able to give you the ability to thoroughly scan everything if you so choose, but we're just not doing it by default out of the box.
Yeah, so I actually think I can probably demo that. So both of these are tag type. If I look at this 7 and 7, 7 and 7, right? So the page has the issues. It doesn't matter which tag it is, they're the same. They're the same set of issues across both of those terms. So if you were scanning every one of your tags and you had 1,000 tags, this isn't useful to know that 1,000 pages have these exact issues. Well, maybe it is, but I don't think it really is. You want to fix them. But you can come in here, you can check this box, save it, and if we visit the full site scanner, you will see that this number is actually higher now. It's going to scan 100 pages, which it will scan every single term I have in all of those taxonomies. So if we take a look at this page now, 24 rather than the 11 I think that was previously here.
Yeah, so if I could jump back a little bit when we talked about kind of coming up with a solution for this. So the reason why this feature hasn't been implemented for a long time is because it was highly complex, because the pattern in which archive pages are generated is much different than the pattern in which a post or a page is generated in WordPress. So a post or a page really isn't generated. It actually exists, and it's something in a database that we can grab and we can loop over. An archive page is not something that necessarily exists. It's more something that is generated on the fly. And then this is really the difficult part in application development or product development, plugin development, whatever you want to call it. Is when you've baked in kind of a pattern of how your plugin works, and then you have something that doesn't fit into that pattern. How do you have to then start thinking, how do I achieve this without breaking all the backwards compatibility of the plugin, or actually having what we were facing was probably a massive refactor of the way that we scan the whole website, to be able to.
So for me, primarily my concern was data storage.
Yeah.
How we were going to store a new shape or a new pattern of data. So what I'm pulling up right now, this is how our data is stored. This is our general custom table, and an issue ID is always attached to a post ID. It always has a type and a site ID, right? So these 3 pieces of information exist for all of our issues, but none of this information, but aside from the site ID, but neither of these 2 exist for a taxonomy. They don't have an ID, nor do they have a post type.
Yeah. So I was, several weeks ago or a couple months ago, I was sitting at a kid's swim meet, on my phone, and I don't know if anybody has kids in swim. You know that there's a lot of downtime between the times when your kid swims. So I was running through lots of scenarios on how we could achieve this, and I really went through very difficult paths to get there. Even going as far as putting together some sort of elastic search where there are scans that run in the background that generate these pages or these records, and then through that research and William and I's back and forth, we came to the determination that, hey, WordPress provides the shape we need. Why don't we just detect these pages and put them into a custom post type? And then we then have access to post IDs. We have access to post meta. We have a place to show the results on the individual archive level rather than making you use the open issues table to remediate these. It actually made things quite simple and solved a lot of things. Now, if you're using a virtual custom post type, you have to be mindful too that any archive page is going to create a record inside of the post table. And since we've now released our cleanup process, we can now hook into that, and we're doing some work to kind of generalize that cleanup process. But we can actually hook in and ensure that these virtual posts don't become stale if things change on the website. Like if somebody deletes a taxonomy term, right? We can hook in and we can clean that up, right, William?
Well, we can, and that will, would be very complicated without the cleanup action. But now we have this cleanup action. This can be scheduled. If someone deletes, if you just easily delete the United States, then all of this information, should be cleared almost immediately. Well, once a day, but we could feasibly clean up individual tags as they get deleted. But if you batch delete something, or maybe you unregister this topic's taxonomy, we can't individually delete them. We don't know you've unregistered them, but the cleanup routine can run, and we'll get rid of those too.
Right. So we're doing everything we're doing our best to make sure that, since we're going to utilize the post table of sorts to kind of help us generate these pages, by default, we're not going to do everything, although you can choose to scan every single archive. And we're going to run cleanup routines to make sure we're being mindful of what's being added into the database. So where you saw that, William, we have that virtual. So this is still a beta. It's still in works. That's going to be folded under the accessibility checker
Yes.
page, and you'll be able to access it under that same drop down.
Yeah, and teasing not the next feature, but a potential feature afterwards is that maybe you can just add custom pages, custom items that you might want to scan, not just archives.
Well, so that's a real sneak peek, and
Yes.
so
this may not be next week.
Yeah,
It probably won't be next week, but that might be soon.
Yeah. Well, what we needed a mechanism in which to do kind of, not your typical poster page, right? And so now we have a mechanism to do archive pages. Well, I think in that process, we've kind of learned that, hey, we could probably open this up to be able to scan other things as well. And this was kind of
some like false post types, or some sites have dynamic content, right? Like knowledge bases, for example, might not actually have an individual post for every item in that knowledge base. They might be programmatically generating.
Yeah, and even archive
other things.
Yeah, even admin pages. So
yes.
So you can maybe add new, and you could put in a URL to an admin page, and possibly be able to get scan results on a WordPress admin page, which actually has been a internal request, because we audit WordPress plugins, and a lot of WordPress plugins have dashboard pages that we need to audit as well. And it would be nice to be able to alleviate some of that manual auditing with some automated auditing from the accessibility checker.
I mean, for us as Dogfoot, and it would be nice to automatically scan all of our own pages to
Yeah,
verify that our posts are the same and
exactly.
that there's
Yeah,
no issue.
and I think it opens up the door a little bit to being able to scan uh, full site editing template, or what do they call it? Parts, or and maybe even patterns. Maybe a way to run an accessibility check just on a pattern alone, a pattern of blocks, or an individual at the block level. We could run scans. So this kind of opens the door to a lot of possibilities, and we're excited to get that out. I think we are slated to release that possibly next week.
I think next week is the aim.
So be on the look for that feature, and a full in-depth demo of that on our next live stream. So we do have a couple other things coming that we've mentioned, such as email reports and an issues API. I think we're at about time. We're going to hold on demoing the. Oh
But we do have
well.
to hold on it because I don't have the authorization. So, but here we have a fully documented issues API. We get issues. You can create new issues. Get a single issue, update an issue, delete an issue. You can check whether you have access, or I can demo this one.
Because you don't have access.
I don't have access. There we go. 401 unauthorized. I, you know, 1 second. Maybe I can be authorized if I can. I can maybe fake it.
Yeah. So we're working on an issues API, and this has actually been in the works all year. And we were working on a separate product that we kind of developed this for, and we thought that this would be very useful inside the plugin. So we thought this would be interesting to release. So you're getting an extra special sneak peek into the upcoming issues API.
Yeah, so if I click this button here, here's the issues. I could update these. I could change them. You, you know, paginate them however you want. So let's see, 69416 is that issue ID. If I come down here to this delete one, try it out, put the ID in, 204, which means it has successfully deleted. If I click this button again, a 404 because the issue is not found. And if I rerun this up here, this should go away. So 69416. Yep, it's gone. 69415 is the next issue. So, and as for separate pages, and given this, should be recognizable for anyone who's developed APIs before. Right? So it gives you the curl example, the request URL, and these are live responses from this actual test site. So these are the issues. 10 of them at a time, or
Cool.
as many as you want.
So
up
what's
to 500.
So what's a use case for having an API in the plugin? Why are we working on this?
Yeah, I mean, for us, this is potentially useful for us to be able to build more modular interfaces. For example, the full site scanner already takes advantage of the REST API. However, it does not delete issues if it doesn't discover them. Maybe it could, or maybe it can create its issues now with this post request. Right, so this is going to potentially be useful for us. However, this also means that anyone can build themselves an application. So you might use some site management software that runs offsite, like MainWP. You will be able to use an integration or build your own integration now, where you can get these issues right in MainWP. Like, you might only care about the count. Well, this is an endpoint. You can run this. You can see how many issues are on this site. And on my test site, 1,630 issues exist. Right? You might want to display that. Or you might want to display how many of specific types there are. You can figure that out from these basic checks. And if you fix an issue, you can just delete it, right? Like in the offsite system. If it's like inside an iframe or something, then you might want to do that. Or you might want to sneak peek to a potential another future feature, you might want to manually create issues.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yep. So that is the sneak peek of the
Sneak
issues.
peek of all the things for the
Yeah,
rest of the year.
that's right. So, all right. Well, I think we're at time. It's been fun running through this with you, William. Like I said, grab the accessibility checker plugin at equalizedigital.com or on the WordPress plugin repository. And if you already have the plugin, please update to the latest version to get the latest features. So, well, we have these live streams every 2 weeks, and we would love for you to join in and ask questions next time. So please join us, and we'll talk to you then. See you all later. Bye.